Hey everybody, welcome to Epic. We are setting you up for an epic 2016, and this is week 2 of our Get Your Biz Lean in 2016 30-day, 35-day challenge. We added a week because we got an amazing new member to our group, and we really felt like it would be very valuable to you guys if we could give you some extra information. So, you know, it takes a little more than 30 days to make a habit. We'll give you an extra 5 days. So today, last week, Dottie and Yasmin did an amazing job. I really enjoyed the trainings that they offered on shifting your mindset for 2016. I think I picked up about as much as I am about to lay out for you guys. So I am really excited about this. I think it really helped me to kind of connect with the mind shifts that have to happen, because I've been in a mindset for so long that it was really helpful to sit down and say, you know what, if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. It's time to make a change. And I personally believe the most important change you can make is in your mind, which is why we're actually going to dedicate today to talking about the financial mindset, the mindsets that hold you back, because I believe that anybody could have as much money as they want if they have the right mindsets for themselves. So I do have a tendency to talk a lot when I get at the front of the room and doing training. So I kind of think I might go off a little bit here. I've got my outline, but if you guys have anything you want to comment on, wave wildly, get my attention, and I'll stop for you.
Stephanie, we'll just say that we know you've got a great outline and information you can listen. So when you need some feedback or you want to say, hey, what do you think? Just ask us.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
Mute out until you call on us. How about that?
That sounds good to me. So I pulled out one of my favorite books for addressing mindsets, financial mindsets, because I wanted to show it to you guys. And if you haven't grabbed a copy of this book at some point, I highly recommend it. I believe it's available on Kindle, so you could grab a copy today and read through it this week. And it's this one, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And it's a fabulous book. I'll put it back up for anyone who's desperate for that one. But you can Amazon it, Google it, whatever you need to. The only thing I do warn people about when I send them to this book is it's definitely a lead generator. There's a lot of, hey, come to our seminar, come to our seminar. So just be aware of that. The content is still really good. So I know sometimes that turns people off to get recruited through books. Just know the content's great. So one of the things I wanted to actually start with reading out a little bit to you guys, and I'm not going to read too much because I'm not much of a reader. I'm really more of a speaker. So he does these really cool little wealth principles throughout the book. And this one says that your income can only grow to the extent you do. And I believe that's extremely, extremely true. You know, this week, we're going to kind of do a 50,000 foot overview of how to increase your wealth for this year. A lot of what we're going to talk about is going to go very quickly. I think it's tomorrow. Yeah. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about finding a product. It's not as easy as I'm about to make it look like it is. It should take me maybe 30, 35, 40 minutes to go through the whole thing on how to find your product, create your product and stuff. It's going to take you way longer than that too, if you don't have a product now to create it. But I very, very earnestly believe that unless you have the right mindset, it doesn't matter how many products you have. It doesn't matter how much value you have to add to the universe, you're not going to get paid on it. So the very next thing he talks about is that your money blueprint. Ladies, have any of you heard of the money blueprint before? Okay,
yeah,
1, 2.
T. Harv Eker's Millionaire Mind. I'm a Millionaire Mind trainer. So
okay, nice.
It says 5 minutes you can tell what your blueprint is. In fact, I was going to go in. I'm going to get up real quick. I'm going to go with cards that I carry so I can show people. How about that? That's a little problem.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. So those cards she's about to go get, I actually pulled the vaxing for today, or the auto suggestion or whatever you want. I pulled some options for you guys off of that. I'm a huge believer that you have to find something that speaks to you emotionally. And if you don't find something that speaks to you emotionally, it doesn't matter if you do the whole vaccine thing. It doesn't matter if you say it 20 times a day for the next 30 days. It's not going to make a difference. You really have to believe what you're telling yourself. So I'm going to give you guys some options of what to say. And threw me for a loop. Bye, Yasmin. I'm going to give you guys some options on what to say so that you can find something that really, truly appeals to you emotionally. And Dottie, you're back with the cards. You want to show them to everybody?
Yeah. This is called Attitudes of Wealth. And this really has a lot to do with what we call vaxing, because when we did Train the Trainer with Heart, I mean, I did this back in 2001, I believe it was. And, you know, so we would be saying these statements, like, I create my life. I create the exact amount of my financial success. So there's a whole, this one is winning the mind game. And this is, on the other side is winning the money game. So it's very, here, let me let Cheryl in. Where did Yasmin go? Anyway, yeah, so I think it's really fantastic because, so think about how long I've had these in my purse. And I use them, you know, I would say that I do it daily, but sometimes it's not daily, but it's always, the essence of it is right there with me. And I think it really makes a difference when I'm claiming what I want in my life in that present tense.
Yeah, I agree. I have the cards as well. I didn't think to go grab them, but I have them in my wallet as well. And after I did the Millionaire Mind Intensive in, or I think it's called Millionaire Mind Experience now, but I did it in 2012, January of 2012, and it was a huge changing point for me. And I did those cards every single day out loud, all the way to work, all the way back from work for 30 days. And now I just pull them out when I need to. Yeah. But it's really, really valuable, really, really powerful. And so for those of you who haven't heard of the Money Blueprint, anyone on this call or anyone listening to the recording, is the Money Blueprint is basically the idea that you have, kind of like you have a blueprint for a house and you set up the blueprint for the house, you're going to follow the blueprint for the house. And if you set up a blueprint for a 2-bedroom house, you're going to end up with a 2-bedroom house. Doesn't matter how many times you try and, you know, maybe you try and build higher, it's going to crumble. The foundation's only designed to hold a 2-bedroom house. So whatever your blueprints are, your life is going to end up following them. And people have a money blueprint. One of the big things he talks about is that this is your lens of how you view the world. And it doesn't matter if someone gives you $10,000 or, you know, it's convenient for me to be doing this training this week because I don't know if it's big all over the States or just here in Texas, but the Powerball, $1.3 billion is supposedly going to get given away on Monday. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everyone's freaking out over this. So many people are buying tickets that never would buy tickets. And oh my gosh, if I win, I'm going to do this. If I win, I'm going to do that. And that's such a perfect example of how your financial blueprint, your money blueprint, your money print will influence what you end up with. Because I could give you $1.3 billion on Wednesday. And statistically, within a matter of months, you'll be back to where you're at, right? Because 1.3 billion sounds great, but let's be honest, by the time you get taxes, it's more like, 500 million, nothing.
What are you going to do with that?
Come on.
Seriously,
just get over it.
Month,
It is. And then of course everyone's sitting there going, oh, I'm gonna spend it on this. I'm gonna pay off all my loans. I'm gonna pay off my bills. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. But statistically, okay, he goes, this is how Harv says it. He says the perfect example is the lottery winners. Research has shown again and again that regardless the size of their winnings, most lottery winners eventually return to their original financial state, the amount they can most comfortably handle. On the other hand, you have people like Donald Trump also talking billions of dollars. And I really don't care what your, political affiliation or view of him is. The guy has claimed bankruptcy multiple times and pulled himself back out of it multiple times. Oftentimes with not nearly the amount of support as people think he's had. He has the connections, he's got that, but what he really has is his mindset. He has the mind of a billionaire, and he is not going to settle for $1 million in the bank.
Yep.
And that's the big difference, right? You set the financial thermostat, you set the thermostat in your house, right? I think I've got it set for 70, 72 right now. And it doesn't matter how hot it gets outside. The AC will kick on and cool it to 72. It doesn't matter how cool it gets outside. The heater will kick on and bring it back up to 72 because that's what a thermostat does. That's what your financial thermostat is doing for you as well. And there's a lot of stuff that's influencing your financial thermostat. I'm curious to know, ladies, I've got a list of things that influence the financial thermostat, but what are some of the ways that y'all have seen people's financial thermostats influenced, affected as they've gone through life?
Well,
one of the things that really was popping up as you were talking, Stephanie, was the term upper limit syndrome. And what that is, or I don't know if it's syndrome, but it's the upper limit method, where what it describes is a person will only be able to handle so much of what they have set in their mind that they can handle. So if all of a sudden you receive more abundance than what you're mentally prepared to receive, we actually go into self-sabotaging mode, to where what we'll do is unconsciously actually do actions that will bring us back down to our comfort zone. Because sometimes we're not, it sounds crazy that we wouldn't be comfortable experiencing an immense amount of abundance, but it's something where it is really fascinating when you start to study the brain and our belief structures, how unconsciously we are constantly trying to stay comfortable. And so I think what I know I'm so excited about, Stephanie, is that you are really, it seems like this week we're going to be talking about how we can understand our core mental beliefs and emotional beliefs, to be able to expand them, to see where are we limiting ourselves, where we feel uncomfortable when it comes to receiving money into our lives, and where can we expand. And so that's the first thing that popped into my mind, was like, is that in this, I see this all the time. I've seen it in myself, about I severely limited at the beginning of my career, severely limited the amount of money that I would make, because I just wasn't comfortable with it. And then when I got to do some self-discovery, it was like, oh, no wonder. And so then as I started to break through those barriers, then it was like, all of a sudden it was like, okay, I can take on a little bit more. I'll take on a little bit more. Okay, I can do it. And then it becomes more and more comfortable.
Yeah. And I think that, if you want to go back into it comes to where we came from, our ancestors, and how change was a bad thing, right? When you were comfortable, you knew how to live, you knew how to survive. There was a change, right? Okay. This is going to show, I have a family that many of them are younger than me. So there's a movie out there called The Croods. I don't know if any of you guys watched that. But it's about this caveman family. And they have 2 rules. And the first one is always be afraid, or never not be afraid. And the second one is new is bad. So anytime anything new happens, they go running from it. And it's such a perfect, it's hilarious, right? The world is collapsing around them and they're trying to run back to their cave, which is being crushed.
What's that?
And they're fighting.
I want to see it.
Transition. What's up, Daddy?
I want to see that. What is the name of it?
It's called The Croods.
The Cruise?
The Croods. There we go. Jay put it in the chat.
Okay.
The Croods.
It's
hilarious. It's a kid movie, right? We're watching it, and there's one scene where it is a pretty good cartoon. But it's hysterical. My husband looked at me at one point and he goes, "Stephanie, that's your family." I was like, "Shut up."
But Stephanie, you're hitting on something that's so key in blueprints. If somebody comes from a family where it says, "What do you think? Money grows on trees?" You got to work hard. And so a lot of people in my generation particularly have, worked really, really hard, because that's what we were told it took. So I've really been about looking at how to work smarter versus harder, while still being committed to working hard, But I think one of the threads I want to draw together here is that all of the things that we're working on this week, each component has a blueprint. The mind, the first week, has a blueprint. Finances have a blueprint.
Yeah.
Relationships have a blueprint. Physical well-being has a blueprint. So sometimes you'll see Trump, who has a great money blueprint and a very poor, in my opinion, physical blueprint. He probably doesn't spend as much. That's not as important to him. It doesn't look like. So just because you have a good blueprint in one area doesn't mean we don't all need to look at blueprints in each area. It can be distinctively different with what our mind tells us about where we need to be,
Yeah.
Relationship or whatever.
I think that's exactly right, because one of the things I coach business owners, particularly small business owners, on how to build up their business, how to build up their revenue. And I have found again and again and again and again, the hardest thing to get past with these guys is their financial, their expectation, right? So if I've got a client who says, oh man, if I could make $5,000 a month, I'd be ecstatic. I'm like, crap. Guess what you're going to make for the rest of your life, unless you fix that. Because it doesn't matter if you could make $5,000 a month within the first 5 days of the month, and your blueprint is set to, if I make $5,000, I'm happy. Guess what you're going to do for the rest of the month? Take a break. Well, then the next month you let things slide. So now you've lost momentum. So you have to like run to catch up. And so now it takes you all the way till the 28th to make $5,000. You have to work your butt off because you decided to take a month off, but you're just going to make the same amount of money. You're just going to work a lot harder. And so people tend to cut themselves off. And I caught myself doing it too. Right? Oh, well, you know, I made enough money to cover my bills this month. Well, I'm good. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a breather. Oh, I'm exhausted. I need a break. Oh, you know, well, I haven't got enough money this month. Let me work a little bit harder. Let me see what more deals I can close. It's the same thing over and over. And I have an opportunity right now. I'm really excited to work with this one lady who, she went from making 6 figures, mid to high 6 figures, and she's making nothing right now. She's like, you know what? I'm used to that. And I will not stop until I get back to that point. And I said, then you could probably be back there by the end of this year, middle of next, because that's what you're used to. And you won't stop until you get there. Just like Donald Trump fixed himself from broke to millions. He didn't stop until he got back to his billions. It's a big deal. And you're right, Dottie. The family has a huge influence on it. There's all sorts of research out there about how you won't move more than 1 or 2 rungs from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. It's very, very rare that someone will go from the ghetto to the 1%. I'm not sure anyone's ever gone from the ghetto to the 1% in one generation. I didn't do any research on that one. So if someone out there knows, no, I haven't heard of e-commerce. Jay, what's that? But if someone out there does know of someone who's gone from the ghetto to the 1%, I'd love to hear about that person. But usually,
in one generation, I think is what you're saying. Of course, sometimes there is obviously, I think what I would say is there are people like that, because you look at professional athletes sometimes, but here's the issue. And, with my background being in that, I've worked with professional athletes, male and female. And sometimes when they've come from nothing, one of the hardest things is that they don't surround themselves with the proper people who can give them good advice. They don't even recognize what that is. And so you see many athletes who made tons of money and they end up in their career at the end of it with very little and very challenged because they had never had money. So therefore, it's just like we're talking about, they didn't know how to use it properly and they ended up losing it. They were like somebody who, won the lottery. Same thing maybe with a singer, somebody who becomes a celebrity. I mean, but look, let's just be honest. Have any of us been prepared to be a celebrity or a singer it's nice to sort of judge, but when you look at the situation and you go, wow, they really had no key training to start being in this space and having this kind of money, I can understand why. So that, we just have to be careful about where we go to judgment with people with it. But I do think there are people who have come from nothing. They have money. Now, whether they hold on to it, I think that's maybe your point. It's very challenging for people without any blueprint for hanging on the money to keep the money. Now, if they somehow tapped into something within themselves, they might go, okay, I see what I did. I see the mistakes I made. I want to go there again and build it back up.
Yeah.
So just to add really quick, Jay, thank you so much for bringing back you and Jay-Z. You are absolutely right. They both are, hands down, some of the best, I would say, businessmen that were in or that are in the music business. They started out as professional artists and then developed a strong business out of that, and then expanded by expanding their businesses, such as owning restaurants and really diversifying what their business structure was and is. And so I agree, it does happen. However, though, I think that the thing that, Stephanie, the point that you're making is that there are certain people who are able to make the mind shift that's necessary to expand the blueprint, to do the consistent learning that's necessary to expand a business and to be that business minded, to keep a sustainable financial situation. However, though, it tends to be the exception and not the rule. Yeah. So traditionally, if like on average, if somebody receives all of a sudden $1 billion, it might not be within a few months, but over the years, if they don't have the mindset to maintain a $1 billion, receiving $1 billion, then they're going to go back to whatever their mindset is tuned into. Yeah. So that would be, I just wanted to add that in because Jay, you're totally right on those examples. Thank you for sharing them.
Yeah, and I agree. Cheryl, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is such a hitting at the core of my experience because I definitely had issues, right, with money. And definitely, I was exactly what I was talking about where I have a high tolerance for chaos, but not a real high welcoming of the money. And so I would look like a crazy person and not get paid for it, And so I think that sometimes we can have the willingness to invite certain things into our lives and yet that sabotage the thing that would actually make it okay, because I don't mind working hard. I'm a hard worker, but I had a lot of issues around money. And so it's just in the last few years that I've started to just put that blueprint in place and say it's okay to have money because I really had the family life that money was sort of doesn't grow on trees and like you were talking about and sort of a bad relationship with it. So I've had to really take a step back and a lot of guilt around money. Every time I spent it, I felt bad. I nickeled and dimed. Just a lot of things around money in general. And so that's been my biggest learning curve is to be an entrepreneur. You have to really be okay with that abundance mentality. I had abundance for chaos, but not abundance for money. Yeah.
Hey, Dottie, could you put the link in the chat real quick? We've got someone who's interested in tuning in tomorrow on the Hangout.
Yeah, I will.
It's
I don't know why. Hey, Cheryl or Jen, could you all do that? For some reason, my message thing blank is not coming up at the bottom of this page. So if either of y'all could put in the 247 Epic Entrepreneurs, that would be awesome.
You doing it, Jen?
Yeah, I'm actually just answering Jay right now, and then I'll add that link in.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's really hard to be talking and trying to answer questions.
Yeah, that's why I was wanting to respond to some people over here. And I'm missing my the bottom part for whatever reason.
Technology. Okay. So we've kind of talked about this a lot so far, and I think your financial mindset, your blueprint really does influence where you're going to end up. Whether, you hear from your parents, I think, wait, was it Dottie or one of you three said the whole money doesn't grow on trees thing. Oh my gosh. I heard that all the time. Money doesn't grow on trees. What do you think I'm made of? Money. If you want money, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. Rich people are bad, right? They're taking advantage of other people or they're, oh my gosh, those terrible rich people, they're not paying any taxes. There's a whole lot of negative mindsets out there about wealth, about finances.
One of them, Stephanie, is that, rich people aren't happy. Well, let me tell you, I'll be quite honest. I've seen a lot of unhappy rich people, and I've seen a lot of unhappy poor people. And I've seen a lot of happy rich people, happy poor people, poor in whatever destination. And see, here's the distinction. You can be financially free, and it depends on how you really define that. See, you could get a tiny home. You could be totally in that tiny home, not having a mortgage payment, financially free, have no financial worries each month. That is financially free. On the other hand, you could be making $1 million a month and have yourself so far out there mortgaged and payments and debt that you've accumulated, that you're making $1 million a month and you're not financially free. So it's a distinction that people have to look at. What, first of all, does that mean to them?
Oh yeah. And there's that little meme going around the internet where there's two people and one's holding a jar labeled happiness and the other one comes up and is like, oh my gosh, where did you find that? I've been searching for it everywhere. And the second one goes, oh, I made it myself. It's true. Happiness has nothing to do with where you are. That's called destination addiction. I lived with that for years and years and years. Oh, when I get to college, I'll be happy. When I graduate, I'll be happy. When I get this job, I'll be happy. When I get away from this job, I'll be happy. Oh my gosh, just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, I was so unhappy, and I'll be happy when I get there. And I finally realized that my aunt says it this way. She goes, wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. She's been saying this to me for years. And I was like, I don't really get that. She goes, whoever you are right now, you will take it into your next situation. So if you're happy now,
when I was coaching at the University of Kentucky and I was selling calendars, about the women's team, and I walked into the executive vice president of the bank, their office, and they had this little bitty thing right on the desk, and it said, "Bloom where you were planted." And it's like, it's being in the moment, and like you said, I always like to say, look, I'm not where I want to be, but I know where I'm going. So you think about that. You can be on a pathway somewhere, but if you're a person who has no idea where you're going, that's craziness. But you can be on a path and not be there yet, but because you know where you're going, because you've visualized it, you have a mind that says, I know where I'm shifting into. And that belief creates, your thoughts and your beliefs creates your reality out of that. If you just stay with that every day, whether it's mind or whatever, or finances or whatever you're doing.
The way that I love that you said that, Daddy, and the way that I always like to communicate that is by saying, I think where happiness comes from is from having inner peace, and I believe where inner peace comes from is by knowing and feeling in alignment with our life. And so it's all about being able to vision for the future and have a vision of what you are creating and co-creating in your life, and then coming back to the present moment and connecting with how you are moving forward and how you are creating that vision in the present moment. And so I feel like as we do that, it's like this beautiful ability that we have to be able to learn from the past, to understand from experience, to be able to vision for the future, but ultimately to come back to right here, right now, and have awareness around how we are developing that vision for ourselves and living our best lives right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a big, big part. What you have to make those decisions for yourself. It's such a challenge for me sometimes when people are like, well, how do I need to think? How do I need? And I'm like, you really have to, I can't tell you that. Mel, sorry, I got distracted by a comment. Making abundance is beautiful. It's finding the mindset to retain it and making it work for you and keeping the abundance flowing, not a one-off. This is very true. And I think the first step, if you want to address the poverty mindset or whatever mindset you're at, right? Some of us may not be in a poverty mindset. Some of us may be in a middle class mindset. Some of us may be in a slightly upper class mindset, wanting to address that. So really the trick is to figure out where you're at. And then, this morning I was working with this one lady and we were trying to figure out what her mission statement was for her business. And she goes, well, this is what I do. And I said, okay, what does that do for people? She goes, what do you mean? I was like, you provide housing. Okay, what does that do? She goes, well, I don't know. I guess I give them stress free. I help take the stress out of, the unexpected real estate situations. I said, that's fantastic. What does that do for people? She goes, I don't know what you mean. That helps them feel free. I was like, that's perfect. So there you go. That's what your mission is to help people find freedom and flexibility in the midst of unexpected real estate situations. And I think I tell you that, guys, that story because I want you to take that your step further. Think about what beliefs you have according to finances, according to money, according to your business, right? I've heard so many times, oh, well, we can't do that stuff. No. We don't want to be national. That's a headache, right? No, we don't want to be, oh my gosh, no, we don't want to be international. Do you know how many employees we're going to have to be international? Oh, no. We don't want to deal with that. No, we don't want to. No, if we hit $1 million in revenue, do you know how much pain in the butt that's going to be? No, if I start selling this product or this service, do you know how much of a pain in the butt it's going to be? Do you know how much challenge that's going to create for me? So think about what are these thoughts that are kind of flashing through your head? And I always tell people, when I teach on mindsets and mind shifts, I always tell people the thoughts that are holding you back, the thoughts that are exemplifying how you think, your lens, your money blueprint, they're going to go through your head like that. Like they're gone. They're there and they're gone. You don't even notice them because you've been living with them for so long. They're the thoughts that, right, you have them and you don't even know you had it. So as you're thinking about your finances, as you're thinking about your money, as you're thinking about your product, your service, your business, wherever you're at right now, your budget, right? Some people hate that word. Oh my gosh, budget, Steph. You want me to do a budget? I hate budgets. Oh, you know what? That's why I went into business for myself, so I didn't have to do a budget. I'm like, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So think about what it is you want in your life according to your finances, right? This week we're focusing on finances. Next week, new topic, but this week, finances. So think about what it is you want. Really, truly want. We've all seen the Geico commercial. I think we've all seen the Geico commercial. You know, the one where you got the two guys and one of them says, oh, he's looking at his tablet and he goes, oh, well, did you know that if you switch to Geico, you could save 15% in 15 minutes? And the other person goes, everybody knows that. And the other guy goes, well, did you know that genies are really literal? And the second guy goes, huh? And it switches to a little explanation bubble and this guy's in his garage, cleaning out his garage, and he finds a genie lamp and he rubs it and a genie pops up. And the genie goes, what do you wish? And the guy goes, oh my gosh, this is awesome. $1 million. And the genie goes, and 1 million deer show up, right? The universe is kind of like that genie. The universe, karma, God, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Everyone's got their own phrase. Everyone's got their own terminology.
Yeah.
The universe is kind of like that genie, and they will give you whatever you want, whatever you ask for. So you have to be careful about what you're going to ask for. So what I want you to do is get really, really specific on what you want financially. Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich says that it's not enough to just think about a large quantity of numbers. I want to have $1 million. No, if that's what you'll get, $1 million. You have to think about the exact quantity of money you want, where you want it, how you want it. You have to think about it specifically. So what I want you guys to do today, I'm a big homework person. Sorry. If you're going to hang out with me all week, you are going to get some homework. So I believe that we can't cover everything possible in, really, we have about 45 minutes a day for 5 days. So there's no way to cover everything. So what I want you to do today is I want you to sit down and really think about, what do I want to accomplish with my business? What do I want to accomplish with my money, with my finances? Uh-oh, Mel doesn't have any sound. So sorry, Hen. I think we have a recording. You can come back and catch that, although I'm talking and she can't hear it. So if someone wants to put that in the chat for her.
Hey, Steph, can I interrupt just 1 second? Because I see Jay, who's on here, said he's got to leave, and maybe he has or hasn't yet. But there were some questions just real quickly around, they were saying, oh, you're life coaching. No, It says live coaching. There's business coaching. So just to kind of give a distinction, the reason it says live coaching, because we're going to invite somebody into what we call the BLAB love seat. Yeah. To actually say, this is what I'm dealing with in my finances, and to get some live coaching back from each of us. So for those who are still listening, but I saw that over there and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to address, especially because he said he was going to have to leave. So this is live coaching, okay?
Thank you. I didn't make that connection. I was like, why are they asking about life coaching? Did someone call me a life coach? I'm not a life coach.
Yeah.
I'm totally confused over here. Okay. So what I want you to do, back to your homework assignment, because I want to wrap up. I want to give us some time to bring someone in for the love seat.
Yeah.
So what I want you to do is think about what you want very specifically. Do you want to increase your income by how much? Annually, monthly, weekly? Why do you need to increase it? How are you going to increase that? Are you going to increase current sales? Do you need to add a new product? Do you need to start a business? What are you going to do with your finances? Do you want $10,000 in savings in the bank? Great. Think about what exactly you want, and I want you to write it out. Now, here's the tricky part. As you're writing it out, some little thought is going to flip through your head about how impossible that is and why it's so impossible. This is what you have to do. You need to catch that thought. You need to write it out, because one of two things happens when you write something out. Either you release it, right? You write it out as a way to get it out of your system and release it away from you, or you own it. It depends on the intention you have as you write it out. So what I want you to do is write that thought out as a releasing. You're releasing that, right? You guys have all heard, oh, write a letter to your ex and burn it, right? Get the bad feelings out of your system. Same thing. Write it out, release it, and then I want you to take the opposite of that. So, for example, if you are telling yourself, oh, well, I'll always be you're never going to make $10,000 or you're never going to make $100,000 a year, you're always going to be a minimum wage employee. Okay, great. I easily make $100,000 a year because I am paid for my results, not for my time. Money, I never find the money that I need. You'll never have enough money to set aside $10,000 in savings because you never have the money that you need. Okay, great. Here's your reverse. Money comes to me easily and fills my bank account to the levels that I need to support myself. Some other, let's see, what are some of the other ones? I'm not good with money. You're not good with money. You're never going to be able to save money for that. Okay, great. Money comes to me and I manage it well. So if you've got, here's what I'll recommend you guys do. If you do have questions as far as you put out you can't figure out how to rephrase yourself, go to the www.247, that's 24/7, right? epicentrepreneurs.com. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and leave some comments for us. I'll get on there. I'm kind of crazy today, but I'll get on there between today and tomorrow, and I will reply to comments, and I would love to help you guys rephrase those thoughts, those mindsets that are holding you back. And then here's the other thing that I want you to do. We're really focusing hard on the vaxing this week, this month. And that's the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, and the sensory. So when you find what your phrase is, whatever the phrase is that rewrites your brain to how you're thinking about money, I want you to do it 4 ways. You're going to tell it to yourself out loud 4 ways. First things first, you're going to either go look at yourself in the mirror, find a significant other, somebody, I think Dottie's walked you guys through this, but for those of you who are new, I'm going to walk you through it quickly. You're going to look them in the eyes and tell them the phrase. Visually envision yourself achieving that whatever your concept is, right? I manage money well. Money comes to me and fills my bank account. And you say that to your partner or the mirror if you don't have a partner or you're not comfortable with going to your partner. For some of you who are a little bit shyer about that. Next thing, you're going to do the auditory. You have to hear yourself saying this. So you're going to come up and rub your ears, right? Dottie, I'm doing all this right? Because I've not done the vaccine before, so I was reading up on it.
You didn't do it in TR Becker?
I did, but I didn't. The vaccine, I never stuck with the vaccine because I was always driving when I did this stuff. So you really can't do jumping jacks in the car.
Only stoplights.
Right. Yeah, jump out of my car real quick. That will go over well. So then you rub your ears. The next thing, you do something physical. So you do jumping jacks, you swat the air, I don't care, punching the air, whatever. I don't care. Do something to get your body moving. The last one, you take yourself, just put your hand over your heart and feel yourself say that. Feel yourself believe that. And I guarantee you guys, if you can pinpoint what the problem is that's holding you back from addressing your concerns, your fears, it will make all the difference in the world for you this week. Because what's the phrase? The first step to recovery is acknowledgement, right? If you know what the problem is, you can fix it. So think about what you want and then catch that little thought, because it's going to go through your head really, really fast. Catch it, grab it, write it out, release it, and rephrase it, reframe it for yourself. So that's my content for today. So snaps.
Yeah, snaps.
So we want to open up the love seat. I know we were only down to 15 minutes here. I was trying to wrap up quickly because I wanted to make sure we could get someone in here.
Yasmin,
I'm more than happy to jump out so that we can have a guest jump in.
Okay.
Well, or I could, because I would be the person that I could tell you what I did, and then you could do it the exact opposite of me. So I don't know if that's really called teaching or not, but.
Well, that would be useful, Cheryl.
Does anybody want to come in, though? Do we have someone?
I don't know if we do or not, but they can't show up unless somebody's out. So maybe somebody jump off for a moment, and we'll see if anybody wants to come in. So let's just Stephanie, tell them what we're wanting to do for them right now, and having one coaching.
What we're looking to do for you guys right now is give you the opportunity to, we've had people asking questions, and I wish I was better at the whole multitasking thing. I could have been responding and talking, but I'm not good that way.
Yeah, Yasmin giving them some feedback.
Yeah, so here's what we're doing is this is your opportunity to come in and ask those questions live and get coaching and feedback, not just from me, but from Cheryl and from Dottie, who also have huge life experiences. And have also done a lot of this coaching, a lot of this mind shift work with their finances. So if you are having some struggles, having some trouble, I know last week we had someone who was trying to reserve the spot, but I haven't seen her come on yet today.
Yeah, I don't see that person on, but if there's anybody out there who's interested in just getting some one-on-one feedback, as Stephanie was saying, you can go to 247epicentrepreneurs.com, and when you go into that site, you can scroll way down to the bottom, and you're also going to be able to see on that site information about all of us and our backgrounds. So it's like, who are these people? These live coaches. Yeah, so we do, coaching and help with people, entrepreneurs. That's what we're doing, is coaching for entrepreneurs. So when you go on that site, you can give some comments. And like Stephanie said, if you're having trouble shifting your wording that you've caught yourself thinking or saying to yourself, then put those words in there, and all of us can go in there and say, hey, here's how you could potentially shift that. And really what you're wanting to do is look at it as a present tense thing. A lot of people say, I would like to. Well, no, that means, maybe I will, maybe I won't. So you want to make the claim in the present tense, as Stephanie was sharing. I am financially free. I have all the money I need and desire to live the life. I have all the money that I want for making a difference in the world in my project X, So you begin to language in the present tense what you want, because the mind will catch up with you, and the mind outpictures whatever you choose. Now, it's no respect to a person or circumstances or anything. That's interesting how the mind works. It will outpicture the negative, and it will outpicture the positive and the good and the empowering. So I always say, people, if it's going to outpicture whatever, why not choose something that's going to support you? But that means that we have to release what's holding us back so that we can legitimately say those things. Yeah. And that's bringing in a conscious awareness. So,
and I'll comment on that one. I think it was Harvard did a study a while back, but they found that the human mind actually could not differentiate. And I'm about to say this, and some of you guys are going to go, what the heck? But they found out that the human mind cannot differentiate between the past, the present, and the future. Yeah. They can't differentiate between what's really happening and what's not. So they stimulated the mind, right? So they watch, so when someone burns their hand, these are the points of the brain that get stimulated. So they got in, they went in there and they stimulated someone's brain just the same way. And that person actually thought that their hand had been burned. They reacted the same way. Their pain receptors went crazy. The human mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. And the human brain cannot tell the difference between the past, the present, and the future. So if you talk about, maybe it's the future, right? Okay, so right now you don't have $10,000 sitting in your savings account. Okay. But here's the deal. You keep telling yourself you do, you will. Hey, Mohammed, come on in. Dottie, you want to go ahead and bring him in? I think we got someone coming on for coaching.
Hello. Hey,
welcome.
Uh-oh. We lost him.
We lost him.
Back in a second. Yeah, we're getting ready to have somebody in the love seat there. So come on back in and we'll let you back in.
In the meantime, I'll give people a little sneak peek while we wait for him to get that one sorted back out and come back in. I'll give you guys a sneak peek as to what's coming later this week. So I saw an article that I really loved, and I kind of have been mentioning it to people. But the sum up of the article, it was a financial advisor, and he said, I've found that it's easier. Hey, Mohammed, you're welcome to come back in, and we would love to do some chatting with you. Awesome, Cheryl. So he read this article and he said it's easier for people to increase their income than to cut it back, right? So people go, I need to save $500 a month. It's easier for them to increase their income. Let's say they're making $2,500 a month. It's easier to take the income to $3,000 a month than to try and cut their expenses back from $2,500 all the way back to $2,000. So if you want to save $500 a month, it's easier to make more money. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, is how do you make more money? And I'm going to talk about it very specifically the way that I feel you have the best potential and I'm the most comfortable talking about, which is going to be adding and selling products and services. Hey, welcome back.
Hi there.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Mohammed? No, must not be able to hear us.
Say something, let's see if we can hear you.
There's volume coming from his, but I'm not sure if he
can't really hear you. Did you have a question that you wanted to be coached on? I think we're not getting.
Might be having some technical difficulties. He's tapping. Okay, he's tapping the.
We're gonna have to check you out. Sorry, but we can't hear you.
He's trying, Dottie. He's working something. We'll give him a second while he keeps working on that one.
We'll give you a second. If you have something, you might have to go back out and ask the question in the message, and then we can answer.
So while he's working on that, I'll keep going. I saw a really great post and I took a screenshot of it. It said there's possible streams of income. Basically, there's earned income or your salary. There's profit. There's interest earned, dividends earned, rental income, capital gains, and royalties. What I'm going to talk about is how to earn income by finding a product or a service you want to sell and how to actually get that taken care of. We had someone asking questions about what product to sell.
I think I'm going to have to X them out. We're not getting anything in.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me just see. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Mohammed. I wish we weren't having technical problems today. It seems like we have this a lot with BLAB. So either the system might have some issues, or we might. There's always.
If you'll look up there, it says beta BLAB. BLAB has become a really exciting platform for people to use, but it's fairly new. So things are changing all the time. You're gonna, you're dealing with technology, but people love it because you got 4 people on the screen and you can. Really engage with people and people follow and come on. So I guess you take together.
This is true.
I wanted to just share this, and it's sort of back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. And then if he asks, hopefully he'll ask a question here, because I think we're asking him on the side there if he has a question. But I was reading a study, and I thought this was really fascinating. And this was for a job, so not for an entrepreneurial thing, but for a job posting. And they put in the exact same job description, literally one above the other, and they switched them up to keep it so that they could really evaluate it. Same exact job description. One of them paid $30,000, and the other one paid $100,000. And they had, especially women, they had far more people that applied to the $30,000 one than the $100,000 one, even though the job description was identical.
Wow.
Because of the people's perception of what they felt they
deserved.
Right. And I thought that was really telling. And I think it was almost 50-50 for men. And for women, it was like 80% of the women opted for the $30,000, even though they were identical job descriptions. Same title, everything. And I thought that was pretty fascinating about people's perception of themselves. They knew they were qualified for it, but they didn't think they deserved $100,000.
Wow. And I wonder, there's some people are scared to get that kind of money because it's a question of, oh my gosh, well, if they're paying me $30,000 and I screw up, it's not as big a deal.
Right.
If they're paying me $100,000 and I screw up, oh my gosh, what if I owe them the money back or something crazy like that? Holy.
I had one person say, well, I don't want to pay that much in taxes. And I went, oh my word.
Oh,
okay.
Oh my God.
Hey, we should all dream of paying taxes.
I was like,
you do so well and you have the opportunity to support a great country where you have so many opportunities. Give me a break. Now, you want to legitimately minimize your tax bill as much as you can, obviously, but that's crazy thinking, isn't it?
Right. Well, get a home-based business.
First, and I laughed, and then I realized they were serious, so I had to not. But
it's like saying you wouldn't take money from the lottery because you wouldn't get all of it because a lot of it would go to taxes. Yeah, it's like end up with $500 million.
I'm okay with that. By the way, if I win, guys, because my husband went out and bought tickets. We never, right? He comes home today. He's like, I bought tickets. I was like, okay, great. So if I win, y'all can have some.
Aww.
Well, Cheryl, I'm really excited because I don't know what the odds are now, but before it went up to 1.3 billion, the odds were 1 in 279 million, I think. Anyway, the bottom line was when they sort of looked at everything, we have a better chance of being a professional baseball player. We have a better chance of these crazy things. So
I think what I heard that made me laugh was that you have a better chance of being bitten by a shark than winning the lottery.
Yeah. So, perspective is really good, but it's kind of fun to have some fun with it. It's like going to something and $2, maybe somebody's going to win it. That's what everybody goes. Somebody's going to win it. So who knows?
May as well be me.
It might as well be me, I think.
I always tell people, so if someone asks me, they go, how much should I bid or how much should I bet? How many tickets should I buy? And I said, whatever you can afford to lose without it being a problem.
Yeah.
I have an extremely addictive personality. So my husband and I went to this place. It's called Main Event. And we went there yesterday. We went bowling and then we were playing their games and you get tickets. And one of them's kind of like a slot machine. You shoot the coin and it pushes stuff over. And I was just like, I'm like going and going. And finally I was like, do not give me that little swipe card back to get more coins because this is why I looked at it. I was like, we're never going to Vegas. Just to be clear, we are never going to Vegas. And this is why, because I won't bet on horse races. I will not buy a lotto ticket and I won't bet because I have problems saying
you can go to Vegas because I don't have anything against people doing that for their entertainment. But the first thing I do if I'm in Vegas is I go get a massage and I go work out and go see a great show. So hang with me and I'll keep you away from those slot machines. I'll guide you through there.
Right. As long as I don't actually sit down at any of them, we'd be fine. But as soon as I were to sit down, we'd be done. Like it would.
I'll say, no, you're not. Come on, Stephanie.
Well, I just want you to know, I only did the slot machine like 2 times, and on the second try, I won $80. I walked away with it, and everybody kept going, I can't believe you're going to quit after that. I'm like, I just won $80, and I just
right. That was how I found out I had a problem the first time. My aunt took me to the racetrack when I was 16, and she placed a bet for me. It was a $2 bet on a horse, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I won like $40." I was like, "This is awesome! $2 turned into 40 like that. This is great." Well, then we went back and we bet another one. By the time we left, I had like $18 left. I was like,
You still
the only reason I had any money left was because she looked at me and said, "Stephanie, I'm not placing another bet for you."
Well, I'll tell you what we used to do with the horse races, because I lived in Lexington, Kentucky, and we went to Keeneland Racetrack, and it just so happened that in my business, I put all the items in the gift shop there. So they'd call me up and they'd say, "Are you coming to the club?" So I'd say, "Okay." So I'd get a bunch of people and we'd go. And I'd say, "I don't know." So my sister was with me one time. We went in this circle to watch the horses. She decided that she was betting on the horse that went to the bathroom. So that's how she chose hers. And then we just got a group of people together. And each time we would put in $2 and somebody would choose. See, I like collaborating even then. Somebody would choose the horse. And then if you got the money, then, it would go. And that made it really fun because we were like all in this doing it together. But if I had to just sit there and choose a horse by myself, I was bored to tears. I was like, nah, I'm not interested. But anyway,
Right.
all kinds of ways to enjoy it. Well, we've had some fun here. It's about time for us to end. And I didn't know if we're going to give somebody one more chance to come on in.
I actually have to get going. So I've got I have a meeting. I need to wrap up and let the dog out and stuff. So if we don't have anyone who's going to hop on within the next 30 seconds, I'm going to hop off and we'll be back for more coaching on Friday. So I do encourage you guys to check out the www.247 Epic Entrepreneurs, sign up, join us again throughout the week, join us again on Friday, and we'll have more coaching available then as well.
I'm really sorry we couldn't get Mohammed on here, but thank you for trying. I don't know. So we do have to get this technology.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just roll with it. Well, thanks everybody for being on here today. We will see you all later.
Okay.
Bye.